Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about American entertainment and how the government should get real up and close and do some seriously needed regulation on American entertainment in areas that you wouldn't expect, that matches how America has traditionally managed agriculture. All right, so let's get into this. All right, so what I want to talk about today is Taylor Swift's latest album, and that the American government, should have paid to make sure that Taylor Swift did not make her latest album Folklore. Let's talk about it. All right, that they should have, just like America pays, like when there's a glut of raisins, they will pay American farmers not to grow any more raisins or not to grow any more corn, so that they can keep the value of the corn that is currently out there at a good value, right? They make sure that we don't have too much of a thing, so that there's so much it ruins the market for everyone, right? So first of all, I am saying that Taylor Swift's latest album, Folklore, lowers the value of Taylor Swift significantly, right, as an American celebrity. Now, American celebrities are an incredibly powerful American resource, right? And one, we're not doing a great job of leveraging American celebrities as a nation, but I think we can get better at it, right? And frankly, Taylor Swift, she brings an incredible amount of value and power to America right now. And the reason why is that I'm utterly convinced Taylor Swift has 2 times, 3 times, maybe 10 times more fans outside of America than she does in America, right? So that when you think pop music, you think Taylor Swift. And it doesn't matter where you live in the world, you're not going to think of somebody who sings in your own language. You're going to think about America, where we have the best pop music in the world, right? And frankly, come on, let's not pretend. Taylor Swift is the best pop music artist around, period. She wins, right? There's not really any controversy saying that. There's no pop idol who is currently balling out more than Taylor Swift, and has been for like 15 years, right? Now, I think significantly, America needs to understand that American steel is completely we are still doing ridiculous American government activities around steel, corn, weather, all these like stupid stuff, right? But we really need the American government to start focusing on the real source of real revenue and real power and real influence for America, which is American celebrity. And we need departments that can tell us, this is what we should do with this celebrity, this is how we should manage this celebrity, because a lot of American power, influence, and money is wrapped up in this artist, right? And I will say right now, Taylor Swift just released a new album called Folklore. We'll get into that album in a minute. But American power was lost. We lost American power when Taylor Swift made Folklore, right? And so just like if you produce too much steel, all American steel will go, and I'm talking like the 40s and the 30s when this mattered. American steel doesn't matter anymore because you can get steel from any country. It's commodity, right? Like, you don't need American steel now. Nobody does, right? You can get any kind, get steel anywhere in the world. Nobody needs American steel now. But in like the 40s and the 50s, American steel mattered. Ayn Rand wrote a book about it, Atlas Shrugged, right? So, it mattered, right? Well, right now, American steel is Taylor Swift, right? And right now, it is completely unregulated. And the value is swinging wildly, right? And it shouldn't be. So Taylor Swift's original albums are amazing. Even the last 2 or 3 albums are really good, right? But then I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, by the way. Huge Taylor Swift fan. So, but I've been watching her, and like the last time I saw her on SNL, she came up and she sang a sad song at a piano. And I'm like, this is SNL, man. Bring your A game. What the heck? I don't want to see you sitting at a piano playing a sad song. Like, what? Like, this is supposed to be pop, right? Now, yeah, I understand all that thing about artists evolving, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about American power, influence, and money, right? And that's what Taylor Swift is, American power, influence, and money, right? She's the new American steel, right? With the mega streamers and a bunch of other American celebrity-related elements, okay? All right, so here's the thing. Here's why we landed here. So my daughter, she's a huge K-pop fan, and she, whenever there's a really good K-pop video, she'll come and she'll bring me, and we'll watch it together. And she kind of directs my fandom of K-pop by pointing me to the cream of the crop, right? Because I have bandwidth for K-pop for the best of it, but I don't have bandwidth for all of it, right? But I do have bandwidth for all of Taylor Swift's albums, right? So my daughter came to me and she said, Taylor Swift's dropping a new album soon, right? And I was like, oh, wow, that's awesome. I'd really like to hear that. How much is that? And my old brain was like, how much is that going to cost me? It didn't cost me anything. The moment it dropped, I was able to watch. I was able to listen to it on 3 services on my phone for nothing. That is a completely different video. I'm not even going to touch that here. But the fact that I got a brand new album she had, and all new albums by almost all major celebrities are dropped immediately for nothing on like 3 services on anybody's phone. We got to talk about that later, but let's keep it moving here, right? So, and I was like, okay, and then I realized, okay, it dropped. I can listen to it, right? So I did. I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this whole thing. But even as I went to click on it on the phone, I was like, this is not going to be good. And you know how I knew it wasn't going to be good? And the reason why is, well, Taylor Swift, I mean, she started singing when she's like 16 or 17 years old. And then, you know, she just did this huge sweep of pouring her life experience and all her talent into her work, right? But that was when she was hungry for fame, right? She wanted to be a huge music celebrity. And she was driven by her, in my opinion, her desire to dominate the world music market, right? And she did it. She did everything that was necessary to dominate the world music market, right? So what happened then? Well, right now she has the problem. The problem is she's a millionaire, and not like a 2-digit millionaire, if not a 3-digit millionaire. She's not a billionaire, but she's a 2 comma millionaire. Like, she is like hundreds of millions, I would suspect, right? Probably not a billion yet, right? But she's a 100 millionaire at least, right? Well, guess what? When you're a 100 millionaire, you ain't got no problems, and you really ain't got no drive left. And the reason why is, why should you? Every problem in the world has been swept away for you, right? Like, you really don't have any struggle left. What are you going to make art from? And this is a huge problem. I just watched a comedy series by Jim Jeffries. I kid you not. He made jokes about amuse-bouche, right? Because he's so rich. This is his world. Eating amuse-bouche is his world. And so he did his comedy set about eating amuse-bouche. And that's where we are with Taylor Swift. This latest album, Folklore, is filled with a whole bunch of sad songs. There ain't a banger in the group. It's just like that Tom Petty song where it says, I don't hear a hit, right? And it's horrible. And I had to and the reason why I say it is I'm a Taylor Swift fan. 3 times I was like, is this the last song? Please, is this the last song? It was not good, right? And when you release that and then people go, is this Taylor Swift now? That lowers the value of Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift is an incredibly invaluable, incredibly important American element of American power, money, and influence. And we, just like the American government pays to make sure there isn't too many raisins, pays to make sure there isn't too many corn, the American government, knowing that Taylor Swift has nothing more to tell people because she's a 100 millionaire. Like, how could she even relate to any of the people who enjoyed her music earlier? She can't. It's clear, right? Like, there's nothing left at the art pump, right? And the reality is, all the rest of these albums that she releases, the government would be much better off paying her, I would say $25 million per album every 2 years. I think for the rest of Taylor Swift's, for the next 15 years, America should pay Taylor Swift $25 million every 2 years not to make any more albums. Because I think a 100 millionaire, right, is not going to be able to make compelling art the way they did when they were struggling to dominate the world, when they were just coming up from the streets to dominate the world music market. So, in my opinion, going forward for the next 15 years, every 16 years, every 2 years, America should just pay Taylor Swift not to make an album so that her current albums will remain the vision of Taylor Swift, right? Which, frankly, she did everything she needed to do. right? And will also allow room for a new American pop queen to come forward. So I think that's really a good idea. I think, and America really needs to start thinking about this. We need regulation on American celebrities. We need guidance. Maybe not, regulation, but maybe guidance, right? But even, and I don't think, and we, of course, would offer her $25 million, and I don't think anybody should impose this on her, but I think the government should absolutely say, hey, you made folklore, good Lord. Here's $25 million. Please don't make another album, and we'll do this every 2 years. You'll be fine, right? And can you go, and also it releases her to do something really cool, right? Like maybe, I don't know what she would want to do, but she should move out of music at this point. All that's my opinion. What do you think? Do you think America should pay Taylor Swift $25 million every 2 years for the next 16 years not to make albums so that her original work, the prime of her artistic career, remains the vision of American pop until a new American pop queen arises? I think so. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.